Hello, friends. So let's continue our talk about the most common perimenopause symptoms and how you can get relief naturally. This is Carla, your online doctor, with today's Live in 5. So the other day, last week, we talked about the most common symptom related to perimenopause, and that is hot flashes and night sweats. They're kind of the same thing. So go back and check that one out if you missed it because there's a lot of good information in there. But we're moving on today. We're going to be talking about the next most common symptom, which is more intense PMS, premenstrual syndrome. Yeah, who can relate to that, right? So many women complain about PMS getting more severe during perimenopause. This is mostly due to decreases in your progesterone levels. Okay, progesterone is like your calming hormone. It kind of chills you out, right? So as those levels naturally decline in our 30s and our 40s, yes, unfortunately, ladies, it happens that early. Um, your mood, your stability, your energy, your peace of mind, they pay the price, okay? And we lose that calming ability, especially the week leading up to your period. And especially if you have, on top of progesterone decreases, you have estrogen dominance. You have estrogen sources, xenoestrogens that are causing your estrogen levels to be even higher. So you not only lose the balance, but you like really tilt the scale. Okay. So how do we treat this naturally? Okay, so progesterone serum, things that are like progesterone. I'm not talking about synthetic hormone replacement. That is absolutely not what I'm talking about. Okay, not hormone replacement therapy, but either like things like wild yam extract or, if desired by you, if it's your personal choice, bioidentical hormones. Okay, these are not synthetic progesterones. These are serums or creams that are manufactured from natural substances. I personally do the wild yam extract. I don't even want to go there. I have too much breast cancer in my family. I don't want to have any type of hormone in my body. So I go that route. I use essential oils. I use things that are going to mimic what progesterone might do in the body. Again, they're not binding to the progesterone receptors. It's not an exact science, but it works. Let me tell you, it works. Okay, so that's number one for today, or number two altogether on the list. And let's talk one more since we have time. The next most common symptom, menstrual cycle or uterine bleeding changes. Sorry, guys, if you're listening, just be sympathetic to the women in your lives because this is what they're going through. So, as your body transitions into perimenopause and into menopause, it makes sense that you would experience changes in your period. It's not going to be the same, just like in the very beginning, which we all forget when we were in our, teenage years. Your period was very irregular and could be very heavy, and then some months very light. You're going to get the same thing on the tail end, right? So the beginning and the end are kind of doing the same thing. Your hormones are just all over the place. But this is one area that really, really varies person to person. Some women lose cycles for several months, then return to regular patterns for a few months, and they say, oh, okay, I don't know what happened. I'm back to normal. Others have more frequent periods for a while, then they spread out, or like I said, go months without anything, and then bam, you get a really heavy period. Those are like the most difficult times because when your period comes every month, you're prepared, right? You have stuff in your purse, you have stuff in your gym bag, you're just ready, you know when it's coming. But when this happens, like you got to be prepared every day. Like don't wear white pants, just saying. Um, so some women again have lighter flows and heavier flows. Pretty much anything goes, right? So women with polyps, fibroids, endometriosis, they may experience heavier and more painful periods as well. Most important, do not ignore heavy bleeding, especially if it's new to you, especially if you've gone from very, very light or what you would consider normal to really heavy periods, okay? Um, if your doctor recommends hormone replacement therapy or hysterectomy as your only options, I recommend you don't settle for that, okay? I'm not saying that that may not be where you end up, but it doesn't mean it has to be where you start. Okay? You can try other things, but you certainly don't want to ignore heavy periods because you want to make sure that you're not missing a bad diagnosis. Okay, let's just put it that way. That something is cooking in there, and and you ignore it because you think it's just changes. All right. Um, but don't settle for hormone replacement therapy or hysterectomy as your only options. There are way many other options. So again, unless you get a malignancy diagnosis, then your options are obviously limited. So how do you treat this naturally? Um, so control bleeding, treat or prevent anemia. That's, like obviously you don't want to get into an anemic situation, and restore better menstrual patterns. So things like chestberry, ginger are two supplements known to deal with menstrual bleeding issues. Other ones that I've read about include ragwort, yarrow, dong quai, black cohosh. There's so many options, and there are so many blends out there that everyone and their brother is selling them. Okay. I only know what I use, and I know it's worked for me. So again, I'm happy to recommend what I use because that's the only reference I have. But I use these types of natural substances. Um, so if you don't want to take my word for it, you need to speak to a naturalist or an herbalist or someone who is well versed in these options. Okay. Obviously, iron, vitamins like A, B, and C, they're very important to deal with anemia and bleeding more traditionally, but they're not medications. We're talking about vitamins and iron. I mean, like, seriously. Hormonally, natural progesterone like products, again, like the wild yam extract, they can help. Things like DHEA, pregnenolone, the precursors to your progesterone are really important. Melatonin can help as well. So there's a lot of options. Don't settle for hormone replacement therapy and hysterectomy as your only choices. All right. So we're going to talk more. Thursday's going to let it get a little bit in the private area. So if you having issues down there and you want to talk, I'm going to be talking on Thursday. If you're a man and you don't want to hear it, la la la, don't come Thursday, or come and listen because, like I said, your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, they may be experiencing these problems and you need to be sympathetic. So on that note, I hope you guys are having an awesome day, and I will see you again on Thursday for another Live in 5.